Hey guys, happy Saturday. Decided that I would read this morning, so here I am reading to you guys. Today we're going to read Stone Fox by John Reynolds Gardiner. Okay, fifth graders are going to be reading this book with Miss B in the library, so not sure what day that would be, but we're going to start it on YouTube right now, okay? So the title of this book is Stone Fox. The author is John Reynolds Gardiner. This is called the front cover, the spine, and the back cover, okay? We're just going to get started in here, okay? The first chapter is called Grandfather, okay? Chapter 1. One day, Grandfather wouldn't get out of bed. He just lay there and stared at the ceiling and looked sad. At first, little Willie thought he was playing. Little Willie lived with his grandfather on a small potato farm in Wyoming. It was hard work living on a potato farm, but it was also fun, especially when Grandfather felt like playing. Like the time Grandfather dressed up as a scarecrow out in the garden. It took little Willie an hour to catch on. Boy, did they laugh. Grandfather laughed so hard he cried that when he cried, his tears went into his beard and filled up. Grandfather always got up real early in the morning. So early it was still dark outside. He would make a fire. Then he would make breakfast. He called little Willie. "Hurry up, or you'll be eating with the chickens," he would say. Then he would throw his head back and laugh. Ha ha ha. Once little Willie went back to sleep. When he woke up, he found his plate out in the chicken coop. It was picked clean. He never slept late again after that. That is, until this morning. For some reason, Grandfather had forgotten to call him. That's when little Willie discovered that Grandfather was still in bed. There could be only one explanation. Grandfather was playing. It was another trick. Or was it? "Get up, Grandfather," little Willie said. "I don't want to play anymore." But Grandfather didn't answer. Little Willie ran out of the house. A dog was sleeping on the front porch. "Come on, Searchlight," little Willie cried out. The dog jumped into its feet together and ran off down the road. Searchlight was a big black dog. She had white spots on her forehead the size of a silver dollar. She was an old dog, actually born the same day as little Willie, which was over 10 years ago. A mile down the road, they came to a small log cabin surrounded by tall trees. Doc Smith sitting on a rocking chair under one of the trees, reading a book. "Doc Smith," little Willie called out. He was out of breath. "Come quick." "What seems to be the matter, Willie?" said Doctor, continuing to read. Doc Smith had a snow-white hair and wore a long black dress. Her skin was tan and her face was covered with wrinkles. "Grandfather won't answer me," Willie said. "Probably not another trick," Doc Smith replied. "Nothing to worry about." "But he's still in bed." Doc Smith turned the page and continued to read. "How late did he stay up last night?" "We went to bed early, real early." "No singing or music or anything?" Doc Smith stopped reading. "Your father went to bed without playing his harmonica?" she asked. Little Willie nodded. Doc Smith shut her book and stood up. "Hitch up Rex for me, Willie," she said. "I'll get my bag." Rex was Doc Smith's horse. He was a handsome Palomino. Little Willie hitched Rex to the wagon, and they rode back to Grandfather's farm. Searchlight ran on ahead, leading the way and barking. Searchlight enjoyed a good run. Grandfather was just the same. He hadn't moved. Searchlight put his big paw on the bed and rested her head on Grandfather's chest. She licked his beard, which was full of tears. Doc Smith proceeded to examine Grandfather. She used just about everything in her black bag. "What's that for?" little Willie asked. "What are you doing now?" "Must you ask so many questions?" Doc Smith said. "Grandfather says it's good to ask questions." Doc Smith pulled the long silver object from her bag. What's that for? Little Willie asked. Hush! What's that? Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. When Doc Smith had finished her exam, she put everything back in her little black bag and then walked over to the window and looked out the field of potatoes. After a moment, she asked, "How's the crop this year, Willie?" "Grandfather says it's better than ever." Doc Smith rubbed her wrinkled face. "What's wrong with him?" little Willie asked. "Do you owe anybody any money?" she asked. "No," little Willie answered. "What's wrong?" "Why won't you tell me what's wrong?" "That's just it," she said. "There is nothing wrong with him." "What's wrong with him?" "You mean he's not sick? Medically, he's healthy as an ox. Could live to be 100 if he wanted to." "I don't understand," said little Willie. Doc Smith took a deep breath. And then she began. "It happens when a person gives up on life. For whatever reason, starts up here and in their mind first, and then it spreads to the body. It's a real sickness. All right, there's no cure except in the person's own mind. I'm sorry, child. It appears that your grandfather just doesn't want to live anymore." Little Willie was silent for a long time before he spoke. "But what about fishing and the rodeo and turkey dinners? Doesn't he want to do those things anymore?" Grandfather shut his eyes. The tears rolled down his cheeks and disappeared into his beard. "I'm sure he does," Doc Smith said, putting her arms around little Willie. "It must be something else." Little Willie stared at the floor. "I'll find out. I'll find out what's wrong and make it better. You'll see. I'll make Grandfather live again." And Searchlight barked loudly. All right, that's the end of chapter 1. I hope you guys enjoyed that because I did. I like this book. It's one of my favorite books. So come back and read chapter 2 with me later, okay? I don't know when it'll be up, but chapter 2 will be up maybe later today. I don't know. Bye, guys.